We open for questions. Joe, down front.
Joe Barton, The Athletic. With Sam out, who do you go to at the 4?
We're actually going to start JR at the 3 and move JD over to the 4.
Is that, I mean, I know the Thunder's kind of small that way. Is that what you do tonight, or is that how you want to handle this for going forward?
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. You know, I think it gives us a, you know, kind of better matchups. You know, with Sam out, if we do have to play just a tad smaller at the 4 spot, you know, to me it just makes more sense with Jay. Jay's got some size to him, but I don't think if you look at him, you think he's a 4-man. But for matchup purposes, it actually works.
So, last one. Now that Jetty, probably for the first time in his career, is on the scouting report, what are teams doing to him, and what's the adjustment that he's got to make at this point early in his career?
I mean, I don't know as much as what teams are doing to him. I think it's more than what he's kind of doing to himself. You know, I always say, you know, I tell my guys I want them to play fast, but I don't want them to play in a hurry. If you play fast, you still have to make the right decisions, and you have to be able to know when something's there and when something's not. And I think where he's got into a little bit of trouble is when he's tried to force things that just aren't there. And we've gone over it film-wise. And I thought last game, I thought he did a better job at that, a much better job at that. And like I told him, I don't want to take away his aggressiveness, but you know, you have to make the right decisions. You know, right decisions, you know, means when, you know, when you try to split, get to the basket, and when you don't. Because you know, against good teams, you know, a bad shot can result into an easy basket for them on the opposite end. So I think for him, and he's come a long ways from where he was last year. Let me make that perfectly clear. He has really developed. He had a phenomenal summer. And I just want him to understand that he basically kind of controls his destiny when he's out on the floor. Teams are going to have their different ways to scout him, but for the most part, you know, even you know, if they try to go at him on a pick and roll, you know, he has the size and the ability to still turn the corner and get where he wants to get to. But there comes some intelligence with that as far as when it's there and when it's not there.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Larry, with JR in the starting lineup, does that open up an opportunity for David Nwaba, or is it more Kyle Korver? How do you handle that?
Both guys. We're looking to see, you know, what matchups would be, you know, with David in there versus when Kyle's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David is definitely probably going to have to be playing some minutes now. You know, and I had a good talk with him, and you know, we spent a little bit more time taking him through plays this morning. So he's certainly, chances are he will be seeing some minutes until Sam gets back.
Even when you had Sam, you were experimenting with Jetty at the 4, going back to the Charlotte game. I guess if Jetty doesn't play well against Charlotte, Orlando, and give you comfort that you could use him at the 4, would you have been able to make this move?
Which move is that?
Jetty to the 4 and JR in the starting lineup.
Well, I mean, you kind of stated it. I'm really looking at, you know, different things to try. You know, moving Jetty to the 4. You know, if Nwaba plays, chances are he's going to be playing some 4, and he's really small to play 4. You know, there could be a chance where we see 2 big guys in there. So right now, I'm really just kind of searching and seeing if any of these combinations could have an impact. I think right now, you know, with no Kevin Love, we have to look to see what will work and what won't work. I know before, you know, I'd always thought about playing 2 big guys together. My biggest concern with that would be, can we keep up in transition? If I had, you know, athletic bigs, and you know, both Larry and Tristan are athletic, but the big question is, can they sustain against a real fast team? Can they sustain? And You know, it could be a 2 or 3 minute spurt where we could be right there in the game, but if we don't do well with our transition defense, you know, we can go to a double-digit deficit just like that. So, you know, I'm just playing around. You know, we're seeing what'll work and what won't.
Marla, right here on Akron Weekend Journal, did Larry lobby or Tristan lobby for that again today?
They've been lobbying this whole time, you know, as far as both of them in there together. And we actually went through some plays, and I had them both in there together. And if that is the case, we'll probably, you know, Tristan would probably play the offensive 4, and Larry play the 5 spot. I think Tristan's a little bit more comfortable, you know, with the play set. So, yeah, we'll probably, chances are we'll probably look at that combination. If not tonight's game, somewhere down the future.
And early in the season, you guys kind of prided on yourself on having a lot of versatile guys. Is this where you're going to find out if you really have that or not?
Yeah, it is. It really is. You know, we're going to be moving some guys around. Some guys, chances are they're going to be playing out of position. You know, early in the road trip, this last road trip, you know, I had Colin and George Hill in there together. I think at one point they even had JC in there. You know, so we were pretty small, and we're moving people around. You know, again, we're just trying to find something as far as a combination that could give us a lift. You know, I understand, you know, that we won't play those combinations in the entire game, but there are times where we probably can do some things a little bit different, you know, just to give it a little bit of a twist. But again, it's really tough when you lose a guy like Kevin Love, you know, somebody that is your go-to guy, that's somebody that you can post up. But at the same time, it's a challenge, you know, and we embrace that challenge. When I mean we, I mean, you know, me, my staff, and the rest of our players. You know, we say, hey, let's roll our sleeves up. Let's go out there and just lay it on the line.
Joe.
Yeah, you just mentioned with Kevin. Is George your go-to scorer now?
George Hill, he was last game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a phenomenal game, and I think that's where the growth of a team comes in. They can recognize when a guy has a hot hand, and not just to go to him, but to put him in a position where he can score. And I thought our guys did that the last game. George, you know, he was making shots. His pull up was good. He got to the basket a few times, and they were actually calling plays for him. I heard you know, JC, and JC doesn't talk a whole lot, and he came down and he called a play. It was a play for George Hill. JR did the exact same thing. You know, so these guys, I mean, they enjoy playing with one another. But that's the next big step, is recognizing who has that hot hand and how to get him the ball and when to get him the ball. And you know, yeah, George had a phenomenal game our last game.
Last one up front, Jeff.
Jeff Cadell, News Herald. In last year, of course, you had LeBron. He would want the ball at the end, even if you'd pass it off. Who is your finisher on this team?
My finisher,
Or closer, or whatever word you want to use.
or like go-to guy.
Yeah, and in the last minute, 30
Well,
seconds.
I mean, it kind of depends on who's going good. You know, if Rodney is in a groove and he's in a rhythm, I'll draw something up for Rodney. Our last game against Orlando, G Hill had it going. That we drew up a last play towards the end of the game where, you know, he had the ball, he drove to the basket. I couldn't really tell what happened, but it ended up being a ball on a swipe down or a block or something. But it really depends on, you know, when you got a guy like LeBron, you know, when Kevin's healthy, you know, Kevin is definitely a go-to guy down the stretch. But in our situation right now, it's really who's kind of going good. I try and ride the guy that's hot, and you know, if things work, they work. If they don't, they just don't.
Yep, still wrap it up, guys. Thank you.